All right.
Hey, look at it, Professor Belding.
Hey, this needs a little artwork here. What happened?
Oh, I thought you took it.
I know I didn't.
Oh,
I
okay.
took it.
Oh, I was gonna say, somebody stole it. So right now we're waiting, and here I'll show you real quick. We got a minute here. This is what I have put together. That's the opening screen. There's
Oh, that came out.
there's your map. And then this is the stuff I had from a blog I did like years ago.
Right.
And it's just about the hotel burn, and this is from newspaper accounts. And the driving park, that's not really the picture of it, but this was a Rhode Hall Community Club. They said it was in the building of the old school. And
Right. That's on the Monroe side.
yeah, I don't know, but they said it's the old school. So
Yeah.
so then we have this is Williamson's hotel. It talks about David Williamson,
Right.
and he named it, supposedly, and all that stuff. I don't know what we call it, Rhode Hall. And then Smock. Yeah, and it said that this is the second Battle of Trenton, where Longstreet, it was a call to arms to,
They recruited.
yeah, to Rhode Hall was mentioned. This is an existing building that's still there. I can't get a current picture of it. I couldn't find it on Google. I did before, but I couldn't find it today.
Right.
And this could have been Smock Tavern. It looks like somebody wrote that in there. This is the school in 1910 and the kids. And this is the names of the kids. Pretty cool. And then this is the home installment house. And that's it for me. And then I guess I can move around as needed, but that's what we're going to be showing.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
But it's like this whole thing is new to me because I don't know, like people come in. I don't know when they're going to be like, how they come in the room. I don't know. No, it's all new. It's like, because it's new technology here.
It's exciting. Where do you want me to sit?
You sit either there or there, whichever one you want. Like, we should
okay. We're going to sit.
Yeah.
All right.
Because that way, they can see us in there because they'll see. Well, they'll see that up there actually.
The Rhode Hall debate.
Yeah, right. It's crossfire.
Meeting of the minds.
Yeah, so I don't know. How many people come in? I don't know. It's all new, Ed.
Oh
my God.
It's cool in there.
Yeah, I know. You dressed right,
Usually it's warm and stuffy.
Yeah, it is, and I'm glad it's not like that because it's awful when it's like that.
Yeah.
So, Kevin, that's Kevin. How you been?
Good. Hey, I hear you went to a big graduation.
Oh yeah, how'd you know? Oh yeah, I told you. Yeah, it was good. It was, of course it's nice to see all that.
Yeah, that's good. Did your son handle it in stride?
Yeah, he pulled it out. He got two. Oh, look, there's somebody there! Yay! Hello, Maria. I see your name up there. Yay! So
early, unfortunately. I know I'm early. How are you?
That's fine by us because it's a new thing I'm trying out this new technology. So I just ask you, do you see the screen? It says Lost Towns of Rhode Hall.
I see the screen. It says the Lost Towns of South Brunswick, Rhode Hall.
All right, that's great.
Yeah, but I don't hear you clearly.
You don't see me clearly? Yeah,
I see you. Sure. I see you, but I don't hear you clearly.
You don't hear me clearly?
Yeah, I think your volume needs to go up.
I can't change the volume on this, but there's no control for me to change the volume on it. So if you can turn it up on your device, that's the only thing I can think of.
Let me see if that works.
Yeah, there's the speakers like over there. If we sit up here, this might be better. Is this any better?
No, it's worse, I think. Hold on, let me see if I can solve that problem.
See, I'm glad you came on early.
Yeah, well, it's not bad. It's just here we go. Hold on. Okay, try talking to me again.
How about now? Is that any better?
Oh, that's much better. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so you might, I mean, it's not my normal volume, but if anyone else complains, they just need to crank up the volume on whatever they're using.
Okay.
Yeah, that's much better. That's
Okay,
much.
great. So
So
we
you're trying to do a Zoom and in person, right? Is that what you're trying to do?
well, right now, yeah, Ed Belding he's here, and we're gonna present here. Originally, we thought we'd get a few or a handful of people here, and then do a hybrid meeting. But I didn't have any takers on actually coming in, so it's just gonna be like not quite a hybrid, but Ed and I will be together presenting, and you know,
Good, we get to see Ed.
yeah, you get to see it now. Look, he's dressed for the occasion. See,
Well,
it's,
I don't
Where am
know,
I?
but now if I get a good close-up shot, I'll know if I see him around town.
yes, now you know who he is.
Yeah,
I have a question for you. On the bottom of my screen, it says 3 people. So I only see your name up there. Are there 3 other people that you can see besides yourself?
it's three. Well, it's South Brunswick. It's you, it's me, and it's Jill and Arlene.
So Jill and Arlene are out there. Okay, see, because it's so different for me. Usually I can
But
see all those things, but with this new, I'm looking at it like a large screen and we have a console, so I don't see the things I usually see. I'm kind of going on faith here that the people can get in. And they've joined in, right?
let me see. Their speaker is on mute.
Okay, so that's in. They're in.
Yeah, and
Okay,
the
so
camera
we're
is in. As the camera is on first out, but oh, because you're showing up, that's why. So yeah, there are 2 people posted as one.
okay.
Myself.
Okay, so we're in good shape, and we'll start in a little bit. I'd like to give it, like we always do, give it a few minutes. It's only 6:25 right now, but
Yeah. How did you make out with the calendar selections?
the calendar selections are great. I got everybody's input on it, but I had to change around 1 month because one of the pictures, the format didn't work, and unfortunately, I had to switch one. And I'll write to everybody about that. But the
I don't.
really hard part of the
I,
calendar is putting in the 365 facts in each day, and I'm into Ed supplied those. Ed gave those to me via email, and now I'm putting them into the calendar. I'm in September right now, so that's pretty good. And I have all the pictures set, or it's mostly set. So I think we'll be in good shape for having it out in the summer.
Now, where would they be available to purchase?
It'll be available in the library, and if we have an event, we'll have it like one of the history events, National Night Out. I might have it ready for National Night Out. I don't know, maybe, but also we're gonna have a history event, another scavenger hunt. So that would be in the fall, probably October. So yeah, and we're gonna advertise it on the Facebook. A lot of people look at the Facebook things we have, so we'll advertise it there. But yeah, it'll be at the library. And in some cases, I think we might mail it out for people that are out of the area if they're interested. I had a couple people in other states that wanted it last time, but so mostly the library and the events that we hold will be selling for like I said, National Night Out, and also the scavenger hunt, the history event that we'll probably have in the fall.
Do you happen to have sponsors for the calendar, like local sponsors who would defray the cost? Or
No, we're lucky enough that the trustees are kicking in for it. And last time we actually made money for them. We turned a profit last time. So we're fortunate to have a supportive board.
you
So
could make
that part won't
more
be
with sponsors, though, couldn't you?
what's that?
Like you could make a lot more with sponsors, couldn't you?
Yeah, well, it depends. I think we're going for. I don't know. What's the last time we went for how many? Was it?
What, we had 100 last
Yeah,
year?
I think we're going for
200?
yeah, I think it was 100. I think we're going for 500 this time, and it's also going to tie in because the construction's happening this year, so they might be able to push it at events like that, or hawk them or sell them at those events. But yeah, it's hard. It's difficult to get all these things in line. So it's already set that the board will cover it, so that makes it a lot easier. But
With 500, you have a good shot of making some money.
yeah, we actually made money last time too. I was surprised. That wasn't really what I mean, it's nice if we make money, but that's not the goal, really. I just want to get the information out there, to have so people can see it. So it's more like dissemination of information for me. But if we happen to turn a profit again, that'd be great. Yeah, I hope we do because, like I said, we did last time, and I think we only sold. I think we had 100 because I wanted to go lower because I didn't know what the demand would be. I think it was 100. You know what? I'm starting to forget now, Ed, but it's been 5 years, so
Yeah, I think it was 100 and we sold out fast.
we sold out by January. Yeah, which is what you want.
Why I asked, because sometimes some of the things that Princeton proper does is, when they have that any kind of local piece, they drop off 20 or 30 copies at different stores, and the stores sell them, and they might put a dollar charge on it above the cost, and then they kick the money back to you. Like I keep thinking about Pierre's, you drop off 50
Yeah.
and people are in and out of there all day long. And, they pick up a couple of these things. They don't have to go to the library, that kind of stuff. I mean, that does require a lot of pre-planning, but.
It's a lot of planning, and like I'm the one that's doing the layout for it because it takes a while. It's just time consuming. But yeah, if we had enough lead time, I actually don't. To me, it would be a little bit too much. But yeah, like I said, we're very fortunate to have them underwrite it. And like I said last time, we made a decent amount. I'm just looking at some controls here, like I said, because everything is new. So there's a volume control. Yeah, here it is. So I have to slide that up a bit. That might be better. Yeah, so everything's coming along with that. I had a few scares when I was making the calendar. The dates didn't line up, and I had to change everything in Publisher, but it all worked out. But one day I thought that I was already into July, and I had to change the whole template of the calendar, and but it all worked out. I figured it out, luckily.
Okay, you got 8 people on, including yourself.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait. It's 6:30 right now. What do you say we wait like a couple more minutes, Ed? Does that sound good to you?
I'm at your mercy.
Okay.
Randy, this
Yeah.
is Gail Weber. I have a question.
Sure.
Okay, also, I just have to, I don't know why my picture didn't show up, but anyway, I have to just leave at around 7:20, okay? Just so you know.
Oh, okay.
'Cause
Well,
I always have Mahjong on Tuesday nights, so we delayed it a little bit. But I do have one question, if, I don't know whether someone can answer it. When I first moved to South Brunswick,
uh-huh.
I live in Brunswick Acres between Route 1 and 27, between Finnegan's and Henderson.
Okay.
And I thought we were in the Franklin Park section of South Brunswick. And my mailing address is Kendall Park because that's the post office. So is there a Franklin Park section of South Brunswick? Or what because we're really not Kendall Park officially. So what are we?
It's like post office things, but actually Ed already knows what it is. So
Yeah, let me explain it. Back in the old days, when Route 27 was the King's Highway, the road moved depending on where the farmers wanted to have their fields and where they wanted the road to run. Then the county or the 2 counties decided to make the road one stable route and not to be changed again. Now, what happened was on the Somerset County side and on the South Brunswick side, right when it was forming and the name South Brunswick came along and Somerset came along for the Somerset County area, the area was called on both sides of the road, just like Kingston. So in other words, Kingston is in 2 counties, Somerset County and Middlesex County. Well, Franklin Park was in both counties.
Okay.
But it was never officially recognized.
It's not incorporated.
It's not incorporated. It's sort of like Dean's is not incorporated. That type of thing. So what happened was the people who lived in the area around the Dutch Reformed Church, you associated themselves with the name Franklin Park. This is Franklin Park. But because South Brunswick was one part of it and Somerset County was the other part of it, it never materialized into an integral unit. Okay, but the name still sticks around. People refer to that area as Franklin Park. But it is nothing official. It's just something in the lore and legend of the area. And that's why the post office and that whole area that you're talking about, that you're in, is really part of Kendall Park.
Okay, because
So Franklin Park
originally
doesn't
about
exist.
50 years ago, 40 something years ago, I think there used to be a sign on 27 or something entering Kendall Park or something. So we weren't, because when I first moved here, I would tell people, well, we're not officially in Kendall Park, but that's our post office.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I thought we were in Franklin Park, and even there was a pharmacy, which is now a restaurant, right near where it used to be called Franklin Park Pharmacy.
Right. Right.
And
Well,
we
it's a name that is used, but it's not official. Okay, so and I guess there's some snob appeal to it also. You know, you can differentiate yourself from the Kendall Park area by calling yourself Franklin Park. You know, like it has some sophistication, sort of like.
No, I don't think, not that. It's just I didn't know whether we were a fit, because I know there's people who live off of Raymond Road and their mailing address is Princeton.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I thought that we were really Franklin Park, but because our post office is Kendall Park, that's what our address, I didn't know whether I thought Kendall Park was like from, Stillwell or something going south. So we're all considered Kendall Park now, whether we were or not.
Right, whether you like it or not.
No, it's not, it's fine. It's easy to spell.
The post office.
But am I correct? So people use the address Franklin Park, New Jersey. Because I just went to the pharmacy up there, and that's where my pharmacy is, Franklin Park, New
Yeah.
Jersey.
Yeah, that is, Franklin, that's where Walgreens is
Right,
considered Franklin
right.
Park.
Yeah. So what you're really saying is Franklin Park doesn't actually exist, but we accept it
As
as,
a medical entity, it doesn't. It's
I
ours.
think St. A's has a Franklin Park address.
Who?
I think St. Augustine's Church uses a Franklin Park address.
Oh, really?
I think they do.
I don't know. I go to St. A's and that I don't know. That hasn't come up. It's not something I know about. It's possible. I mean, we've had some name changes around. Dayton used to be called Crossroads.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we've had a few other places. And what we're going to talk about tonight, Rhode Hall, never got to really get off first base.
That's a good segue because Rhode
It's a
Hall
good segue.
is a perfect example. Rhode Hall never was incorporated. It was
Right.
It's part of South Brunswick.
And you still have some people who say, oh, yeah, I know the Rhode Hall area. Oh, yeah, I know people who live in Rhode Hall, that type of thing. But it's not official. It's not acknowledged by the state as an integral area.
Their tax money goes to South Brunswick. It doesn't go to Rhode Hall or Franklin.
Right. And
Yeah.
Franklin Park straddled the border so that part of Franklin Park is over in Somerset County. And the part of Franklin Park of Middlesex County. So it was split. It was split by the King's Highway.
Yeah, I think the little building on the corner of Claremont and 27 was the Franklin Park Post Office.
Yeah. Yeah.
That wasn't that long ago, right?
Right. And then it has, that's by the church. Yeah, I know. And that's across from that real estate office, which is one of the oldest.
Yeah, it's right across the street from the firehouse
Yeah.
The one with the
on
wing.
Claremont. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's on the Franklin side. But
And I think that was a post office.
yeah, that little place. But
It was, I
uh,
remember.
on the other side of 27, where you have that Baroud real estate, I believe
Yeah.
it is. That's one of the oldest houses in South Brunswick.
That house supposedly somebody that was a drum that's played the drums in the marching for the Revolutionary War was actually supposedly lived in that house, when he grew up. So there's some kind of, I think his name is Priest. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Yeah, so it's a historic area. It has a long history. It's just that it never became an integral community separate from the rest of it. So Kendall Park is claiming it on the South Brunswick side.
Okay, so we're gonna start with Rhode Hall. Now, Ed, do you want me to go to the map first?
I just want to say one more thing. I looked up St. Augustine's and the mailing address, according to the, on my iPad is Kendall Park. Maybe they say Franklin Park, but it's
Yeah, I haven't
called
heard.
Kendall Park.
Maybe Father Riley had that when it first opened up.
I don't know, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's used now by the church. Yeah, I haven't seen it on their literature. or anything.
Okay, sorry I interrupted this, but I was confused about this for 49 years.
That's all relevant.
Well, we're here to help you out and to provide you with angst relief.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Randy,
You want to start with the map?
yeah, yeah, let's start with the map. This is a map which I added to, which is in the archives that we have here in the history room. And I think we should start with the origin of the name Rhode Hall, because that might be of interest to you. It's an unusual name. And it still is around today on a street sign and a couple of other things where you see it, such as Dean's Rhode Hall Road. And Rhode Hall, as far as I could figure out, probably was the name for the first inn along what is called Lowry's Road. And Lowry's Road has an interesting history too. If it weren't for Lowry's Road, there would have been no inn there. And if there were no inn there, then there would be no Rhode Hall. So there is a connection between the road and the inn that was there and the name Rhode Hall. Now, Rhode Hall, there is a Rhode Hall in England. And there is a question of whether the Rhode Hall comes from Scotland, because supposedly there's some sort of area that might have that name, RHODE. So it might be of Scottish origin, it might be of English origin. And it comes along at the time that David Williamson, who was originally from Scotland, settled in this area. And he's the one who built the inn and gave it the name Rhode Hall. Now, the spelling in England is RODE, and the Scottish one has the RHODE. So you can take your pick as to where it really came from. But with David Williamson coming from Scotland, I sort of favor the Scottish origin. The other spellings are RHOAD, and these are in documents down through the years. And then, of course, some people just simply call it Rhode Hall, ROAD. Okay, so that's where we get the name from. Now, you see Lowry's Road. This is a road that's running basically north-south. And Governor Lowry lent his name to this road. He was the governor of the Jerseys at the time, East-West Jersey. And this is in the late 1600s. And since you had an East Jersey and a West Jersey, you had two capitals. You had one in Burlington, and you had one in Perth Amboy. And you see on the road there, it says to Burlington on the right, meaning south, and to Amboy on the left. Now the road went up to what we know as South Amboy. Okay, and South Amboy was not called South Amboy in those days. It was called Radford's Landing. So if you went from Burlington, the West Jersey capital, and you were headed to the East Jersey capital, you'd have to take a ferry over to Perth Amboy from Radford's Landing. Now, the road went through this South Brunswick area. It is now called the South River Cranberry Road, basically. Okay? And the main connecting road before you got the Dean's Rhode Hall Road and Davidson's Mill Road and the Dayton Jamesburg Road, you had George's Road. The George's Road would come off of it down close to where you have Cranberry, and it would cut across and right in New Brunswick, that's where it would pick up with what we know as Route 27, back in those days, the King's Highway. Now, you had the two roads competing for transportation through New Jersey. And the larger picture is Philadelphia and New York. The lower road started out as the more popular road. And if it had stayed very popular, then Rhode Hall would have been a community, would have been a village. But it lost out to the upper road, which was the King's Highway, now called Route 27. Okay, and the competition when the stagecoaches came in and so forth was fierce. And we're talking about pre-Revolutionary War and then after the Revolutionary War. But the main change that caused this for the popularity of the King's Highway over Lowry's Road was Governor William Franklin. Just before the American Revolution, he decides to live in Perth Amboy rather than live in Burlington, where he had lots of property. When he makes that change, then most of the government activity and so forth is going to be in East Jersey, the capital being Perth Amboy. So Governor William Franklin basically can be blamed for Rhode Hall losing a lot of traffic, and that traffic going over to Route 27. And so Route 27 becomes the main road connecting New Brunswick, connecting Philadelphia to New York. And things sort of died down for the lower road, meaning Lowry's Road. We now call it South River Cranberry Road. So that's the background as far as the road is concerned and how that impacted on Rhode Hall being a big thing or being nothing. Okay, I don't know if anybody has any questions on this so far.
Yeah, it's Gail Weber. Just a quick thing. So are people living in this area right now, is the one side of South River Cranberry Road still South Brunswick?
The east side is Monroe.
Okay, is
The
this,
east side, okay.
and the west side, and so
west
like
side-
if you're on Davidson Mill Road and you hit South River Cranberry Road, the stuff along there is on our side of the road, is that South Brunswick?
Yes, the South Brunswick side is the west side of the road. Now, keep in mind, we were just talking about Franklin Park straddling Route 27. Kingston straddling Route 27. And the interesting thing is Rhode Hall in its heyday straddled Lowry's Road.
Okay, so what,
part of
people that are
Rhode-
there now, what post office do, we don't have a Rhode Hall post office, right?
No, no. The closest post office that I know of was at Crossroads.
Yeah, but we don't have a Crossroads. Is Dayton, you mean Dayton?
Well, Crossroads meaning Dayton, yeah.
Okay,
Okay, but here you had the makings of a hamlet and then a village, but it would be one that straddled between two viable areas, the South Brunswick area, called the South Ward back in the old days, and then Monroe, named after President Monroe, on the other side. Okay, so in other words, Rhode Hall is not all in South Brunswick. Part of Rhode Hall, actually, you might say half of it, is on the Monroe side.
But also, Monroe was part of South Brunswick, as was Cranberry.
Yeah,
So
in the very early
there's
days.
a picture I'll show later. It's called the Tallman House, the Holmes Tallman House. And right now it's in Monroe, but when it was built in its heyday, it was actually part of South Brunswick. But the borders shifted when they made Monroe Township in Cranberry.
Right.
okay, going towards Amboy or East Brunswick, does East Brunswick take over both sides of South River Cranberry Road at some point?
Yeah, yeah. When you get up to, what is there, an animal hospital up there?
Yeah,
And you're headed towards the fairgrounds,
yes,
Middlesex County Fairgrounds, yeah, then you're in East Brunswick, yeah,
okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
okay.
When was Governor Franklin in office?
He was in office right before the Revolutionary War for several years. And then he was thrown in jail when the revolution broke out in 76.
Yeah, he
then-
was a loyalist. He was on the
Yeah,
side of
yeah.
the king.
Yeah, well, this is,
Opposite.
Isn't he Benjamin Franklin's son?
Yes, and opposite sides
Yeah,
on the
thank you.
revolution.
Okay, I thought so. I just checked.
Benjamin Franklin's illegitimate son, by the way. That would make for a good movie. But William Franklin escaped to New York City.
Right, right. And
And-
he,
Yeah, so he avoided being hung and or a worse fate by escaping to New York City.
so basically though, he was actually the first governor of New Jersey.
He
But-
was the
The
last,
legitimate son.
the last royal governor of New Jersey.
Yeah, he was the last royal governor. They had many governors of New Jersey before him, Lowry being one of them.
Oh, okay.
But you got to keep in mind that if you go back far enough, you have, in other words, Franklin was the governor of New Jersey when the two parts were united. When you
Right.
go way back, you got a West Jersey and you got an East Jersey. And New York was in charge of a part of Jersey for many years. So it was a very confusing setup. But by the time you get to William Franklin, that's the end of the royal governors, and he finishes up his life in England. He goes back to England.
Interestingly enough, this is Marcy Apschutz. There was a PBS program about Franklin. It was a two-part series. on
Right.
PBS that does, it talks a lot about William Franklin in there. And
Yeah.
although he was an illegitimate child, before the Revolutionary War, Franklin really raised him to be his son and took him for his son. It wasn't like he didn't acknowledge him at all. It
So they had a very close relationship actually until
they did.
Right. that is correct. Yeah,
He said he was disappointed
just-
that he was on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's
Oh,
why I say it would make for a good movie.
Yeah, and actually, William Franklin's son, Benjamin's grandson, was also brought into the family. So it was that I just found it a very interesting show to watch. One of the things because South Brunswick doesn't have a post office, one post office, part of the area of Davidson's Mill Road, which is definitely in South Brunswick, does have a North Brunswick postal address.
Right, and some people in the Kingston area, I believe they have a Princeton address.
Yeah. So
I tell you, it's a very confusing thing. I have yet to find a map which delineates the areas of South Brunswick that could take names. Like, where is the border of Deans and Monmouth Junction? Where is the border of Kendall Park and Kingston? You know, I've asked in the township and so forth, and I haven't found anything other than the fire station boundaries. In other words, each fire station is in charge of a certain area of the township, but their borders don't line up necessarily with the names that we use in South Brunswick. So eventually we want to get that so that we have a delineation of where Dean's begins and where it ends.
But how would they determine it though? Because it was just before it was a post office box. How did they determine that?
Yeah, well, the people knew
Yeah.
back when they decided on these names and so forth. And for some reason, there's not a map available that shows
Well, there's
this.
that sign when you're on George's Road. It says you're going to Dean's. But
Yeah,
it
right.
seems, it's just it's pretty far from Dean's
Right.
Lane.
Right, it's confusing. And it's part of the charm of the township, I think, to have these village hamlet type setups. And as you say, they're not official.
Right. And South Brunswick's got a lot of them though, because when I first
Yeah.
started working here, I was confused because all these different names,
Yeah,
but
it is
they're all part of
confusing.
South Brunswick.
Yeah, and we could have had one more, that would be Rhode Hall.
Yeah, if they made it right.
Yeah, we could have.
What about the voting district lines? Is that cool to look at?
Okay, well, we can get back to this map if you want to show some other things.
Oh, okay. So
And then we'll get back to it because this is a map for what time period? 1920, 1945.
So one of the things I wanted to show was these are some things from newspapers. So the Rhode Hall actually had a baseball team, and they played Dean's, and they were saying Saturday last. So this is August 10th, 1895. This picture isn't from there. I just used the picture from the internet that I grabbed. But they had their own baseball team, and they played Dean's. And there's a picture
Yeah,
of it.
and I believe that all the parts of South Brunswick each had a team. So Monmouth Junction had a team, Kingston had a team, and this is when baseball was very popular. And it was a time where you had professional teams, but you also had a lot of amateur teams. And of course, if you trace the roots of baseball, the popularity of baseball exploded after the Civil War. And probably because of the Civil War, a lot of guys were learning the game and went back home, and then the teams were started and so forth. So when you had the 1880s, 1890s, that's when baseball really took off.
And I also heard that they played other teams that were on the same rail line. So somebody from
Right.
like Plainsboro or someone that was, a couple stops away, because it's easier to jump on a train and get there, and organize a game when you don't have cars, So I heard a lot of times they were based on where you were on the rail line.
Yeah, and notice the score of the game. 17-19. You
Because
see
that's,
that?
yeah, that's because it's
It's like a football score.
yeah.
The games lasted a very long time. And the rules were much different. The rules didn't get cemented until the turn of the century.
Were they wearing gloves then? Because I know that in the early days they might.
No,
Yeah.
no. And you can go and see old time baseball games now. They, Old Town, Jersey Old Town, up in
Piscataway.
Piscataway. They have a New Brunswick team, and they play teams from around
That's
the
right.
state.
They usually do it in June. And they also have them down at Walder Park in Trenton too. They have
Right.
historic games.
And an interesting thing. Now the ball back then was softer.
So that's how they did it.
Okay, and also because I've gone to watch a few games. If you hit a fly ball to the outfielder can let it bounce once and catch it, and the batter's out.
Oh,
So
there's a
that
bounce.
that eases up on the hands.
Yeah.
The guy who has it the roughest is the first baseman because he's catching the throws from across the infield, fired across, and
Oh,
he has to
interesting.
catch it bare hands.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, and there was a big change in the rules when they call balls and strikes. And so when you go to see the old time games, they'll play the first game with the rules of no balls and strikes. So the batter's standing there, and the balls are coming in one after the other, and he picks out the one he wants to hit. So maybe 20 pitches later, he finally swings.
Wow.
Then they play a game where they call balls and strikes.
Wow. That wouldn't be good for TV though, the way they.
I played in one of those games a few years ago. The Harrisburg team was short a player and they drafted me. It was a lot of fun. The ball is softer, but it's not that soft. It still hurt when you caught
Oh,
it.
yeah. But it's not like the hard ball of today.
It's a little softer, but it's the hard part is when you're used to wearing a glove and you're aiming to have the ball go between your thumb and your forefinger, and that's when you do that without a glove, you don't catch the ball.
Yeah. Well, I saw it, and there are a lot of two-handed catches.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do, but I was new to it, so I had trouble grasping the concept.
Well, you survived. That's good. That's good. Okay. What did you want to go to
Well, I
next?
also have the hotel up there. I was mentioning it's another news about the hotel burning down. So there was a really important hotel, the Rhode Hall Hotel, and they had a lot of things happen there. I think people voted there. It was like a little community hub, but it burned down. According what year is it? In 1908. Yeah, all was lost. I mean, the whole thing went. There wasn't anything. They had to raise it after that.
Right. I can give you some background on the Rhode Hall Inn, or Rhode Hall Tavern, or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, the tavern? Oh, I was talking about the hotel. The tavern is, I can switch over to that right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is, hold on. I'm learning this, I gotta figure this out here. Yeah, the tavern. Yeah, this talks about the Williams Tavern. Is that what you meant?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
that's fine. Now, the person who started this tavern in whatever you want to call it, David Williamson, he came from Scotland around 1730. He married Eleanor Schuyler. They had a daughter, Mary, who married Thomas McDowell. Now, the reason Thomas McDowell is important to know is he took over from David Williamson. And he probably, in our files, they have the years messed up for Thomas McDowell. But as far as we can tell, it was David Williamson who was running things during the Revolutionary War. and Thomas McDowell picked up running it and so forth after that. The inn became a famous stop because, as I said before, they considered Rhode Hall, and it was David Williamson who named it Rhode Hall, because it was considered a halfway point between New York and Philadelphia. And back in those days, the taverns and inns were supposed to be at least one every 7 miles along a major route. That was the goal, to give travelers a place to stop, refresh themselves and move on, to change horses, all sorts of reasons for having them. This could have been a main industry for Rhode Hall becoming an actual hamlet, village, whatever. As I say, the problem was when the popularity of it dropped after the governor moved to Perth Amboy, and then Route 27 took over as the main way. Then the business sort of dropped off because the number of people taking the road was less. Now the road going up to South Amboy, that was actually a faster way to go. And so the logic would be that it should have been viable and it should have kept going. But when the governor moved, that was the death knell for Rhode Hall becoming a township or a village. Okay. What I want to do here is give you some of the names of the people who were the original settlers, okay, of the area. I don't know if you have any pictures of a farmer or something like that.
No,
Yeah. But it might be important for the people listening to know the names of the people who were there,
Okay.
Especially first. Okay, I mentioned David Williamson, I mentioned Thomas McDowell. Other settlers in the area, and we're talking now about the 1700s. Peter Vanderhoof, who wed Mary Dorset. Simmons Smock, who married Lydia Skink. Yehu Pearson married Margaret Sylvester, and second marriage was to Rachel Vanderhoof. John Probosco, Farrington Barkaloo, Reuben Van Pelt, Benjamin Petty, John Snedeker, James Gulick, John Van Dyke, William Rue, and John Rue. Now, all of those people that I mentioned were farmers. So this area of Rhode Hall was known as a farm area. Transportation, stopover, and an agricultural area.
So I've switched to this slide because you mentioned Smock, right? And this is I think that they think this is the tavern, the Smock Tavern. They don't really know,
Right.
but this building actually exists, and they think it was a tavern back in the 1700s. It may have been somewhere where the troops stopped in. There's no documentation on it, but this building still exists on South River Cranberry Road.
Yeah, in writing my mysteries of the South Brunswick area, and I use I've used Rhode Hall, especially in the third one that I'm almost ready to put together. This place was one of the places where guys were recruited for the Revolutionary War,
Okay.
and they they would meet at the Rhode Hall Tavern, of course, before going back. And this was for the Second Battle of Trenton. Because the American forces had come across the Delaware River again, Washington sent guys out to recruit to get more men to bolster his forces for that Second Battle of Trenton. And I write about that in one of my accounts leading up to the Second Battle of Trenton. And in that I mentioned the names of the people that were recruited from the Rhode Hall area. And they were able to get back in time to participate in the Second Battle of Trenton.
And so Captain Longstreet was the one who gathered the troops or gathered the recruits.
Longstreet was the one. He's more associated, with Princeton.
Kingston, right? Yeah.
And Kingston. And what's a place just south of Kingston there? That was another place that might have developed into a village.
Okay, south of Kingston.
Yeah, where there's a famous house there, where British soldiers were.
Oh, you mean the one where they had the
Queenston?
Rocky Hill.
No. It's south of Kingston, and it's now part of Plainsboro.
Queenston?
No,
part of Plainsboro?
No. There's a little area that was named after one of the farmers that was in the area. Like I don't have my notes.
Okay.
But anyway, it was a successful venture to get the recruits, and you're talking about a handful of men, not 30 or 40 men. But it's a claim to fame for the area. But anyway, they were able to participate, and of course, they joined the group that snuck away. So when Cornwallis was ready to attack, he waited too long, and he got the encampment was abandoned, and the soldiers got up to the area, and then some of them joined Washington in his retreat all the way up, to Morristown.
Okay.
So that was a big historical moment.
And this was the same Longstreet that had he had an inn.
Yeah, this
right
is
on
Aaron Longstreet.
Aaron Longstreet, yeah, he had an inn on in Raymond Road in Route 1, and it was became Macon's Inn. It existed from back then all the way till about 1980 about, but it became famous as Macon Inn because Pleasant Macon was the first Black businessman in South Brunswick. I have pictures of it, but not ready to show you right here. But
Yeah. And this scene that you see, these are the American forces firing on the British who are trying to come across the narrow bridge. This is the Assunpink Bridge.
Assunpink Creek, yeah.
There's the creek there, and they're trying to come across, and they were repulsed about 2 or 3 times. And a lot of people don't know much about the Second Battle of Trenton. The popular misconception is that there was the Battle of Trenton and that was it. But there's actually 2 battles at Trenton, and some people from Rhode Hall participated in the Second Battle of Trenton.
And at Christmas time, they have a great, people might know about it, but if you don't, there's a great reenactment and a lot of historical tours down in the Trenton area. It's the 7 crucial days, or is it 7 or how many crucial days? What's the name of the program?
Oh,
I think I emailed the group about it last year, but yeah, they have fantastic tours, and they talk about these battles, and they're right on the Assunpink, so you can go to where these things actually happen down. It's the week after Christmas.
Is that Washington's Crossing?
Washington's Crossing is in Hopewell. That's where they crossed over. That's about a few miles north of that, and that's in Hopewell Township.
Yeah, that's for the first Battle of Trenton.
Yeah, that's from the coming. But where this is in Trenton, though, it's right by the Capitol. But if you look for it, it's by the barracks. The old barracks is also another great place to visit. But they run a really good program down there. Is it 21 crucial days? Ed, I'm starting to forget. I'll look it
Yeah,
up.
and after the British were repulsed, then Washington set up a fake camp with fires burning and so forth. And in the middle of the night, they retreated from here, found a secret way to get back to Princeton. And then they had the Battle of Princeton. And then from the Battle of Princeton, they crossed over to Kingston. And instead of marching on New Brunswick with the troops exhausted and so forth, they turned left in Kingston and went up towards Morristown. So that's the 7 days you're talking about.
But yeah, I missed. It's actually 10 crucial days. So if you Google 10 crucial days, they'll tell you all about the what's happening down there. They run it every year. I think they started last year again. They took a break for COVID, but okay. So what's up next?
Let's see. Well, I move into the 1800s with my notes. You might want to go back to the map, Randy.
Okay. Okay, there we go.
Okay. Now, on the map, you can see some of the early places and let me see. Might be the best to do here. No, I think we're a little too early yet because I got to get up to the year 1900 before I really point out the stuff that's on the map.
Do you want me to do the
Uh,
driving range? I can.
No. Let's go, because I want to get through the 1800s and I got a lot of names of people from that time period. Do you have what pictures do you have beyond what you were showing the last
So I
time?
have the driving range. I have the school kids and the names. And there's a tab on there about the community center. You know how they had that, but that's a picture of.
Okay, well, let me do this. You stick with the map.
Okay.
Okay, and what I'll do is go through the names that I have from the 1800s. And we're talking about after the Civil War. So I gave you the names of the people that were before the Civil War. And now these are the names of the people. And an interesting thing is to think about any names that you have heard of and maybe some people that are still around. To give you an example, the Van Dyke name is still around. Snedeker is still around in South Brunswick. That was from the earliest days. Now, in these are the late 1800s. Again, most of these people are farmers. And I have names for the South Brunswick side and the Monroe side, but I won't give you the Monroe side unless you want them. So here we go. There was I.S. Bennett, J.S. Mock, Farr Francis, W. Willard, P.S. Pearson, R. Holman, J.G. Schultz, J. Harmstead, J.B. Tallman, R. Cole, John Van Aken, L.I. Welsh, C.H. Perrine, Isaac Snedeker, Mrs. Van Noyes, Ferdinand Van Dyke, another Snedeker, a Perrine, a Griggs, a Duncan, a Ferris, a Bergen, a Conover. So you see the population was increasing in Rhode Hall. But again, we're talking about mostly farmers. Probably the outstanding person from this group was Ferdinand V. Van Dyke. He was a trap shooter by hobby. He was born in 1858. His nickname was the Wizard. And in the 1890s, he became a world trap shooting champion, hailing from Rhode Hall. And he competed for the World Championship in London in 1892. And so there you have a claim to fame for Rhode Hall.
Now you mentioned Tallman. Do you want me to go to the Tallman house? Because I have a
Yeah, why
picture.
not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We switch around here. Yeah, now this house, I believe still exists. It existed earlier in the year. I heard it was bought, and they're gonna. I think they're gonna demolish it. But this is a beautiful house. Then there's a Holmes Tallman house, and it's still. I believe it's still there. So it had a connection with South Brunswick because, well, it was in South Brunswick at one time. Right now it's in
Right.
Monroe, but at the time it was South Brunswick. And Gwendolyn Baker lived there. The Bakers are a big South Brunswick family. So, but this is it's a pretty incredible house. I mean, I don't know if anybody's noticed it before, but the first time I drove by it, I actually turned around because I wanted to know what it was, and found out later from looking it up on the internet. But pretty incredible structure. Has anyone seen this house?
Oh, yeah. You
Yeah.
can't help but see it.
It's
Yeah,
a
right.
beautiful house.
It's right on 522 and Cranberry Road.
Right
Yeah,
on the corner, right on the corner.
They're gonna tear down too in the development of that building.
they sold it to the developer. Is that what you said, Paul? Competition. Yeah, so that's Tallman.
Yeah, and then you can go back to the map because then I'll be ready to
Okay.
all the details there. And we can use that house as a starting point. Okay, now on the map, this now is up to the early 1900s, going up to the mid 1900s. That house that we just looked at on this map, it was the Brown Baker house, and it could have been an inn for a time there. But you check that on the upper right hand on the Monroe side of the road. You'll see that the Rhode Hall stretches from that area all the way over to Helmetta Boulevard. And so that's quite a stretch. Covered a good area, a good amount of acreage and so forth. And so I'll point out the things that were big in this time period. And I'll go from right to left. So you have the names of some of the farmers and so forth on either side of the road. You can see those for yourself. I don't have to mention all of them. What's interesting is on the other side of the Dayton-Jamesburg Road in an area called Brown's Corner, you'll see the schoolhouse. Okay, and the schoolhouse was not on what is now the South Brunswick side, but this Rhode Hall had a school. You also, this could have been, I'm pretty sure it was, it was also used as a community club, a center. So this was a center for the community, for gatherings and social things and so on. Ah, there you go, the Rhode Hall School. And then opposite that, on that corner, you have John Van Aken, and he would have had a farm there. And then you move up the road, and you get to two landmarks that are very obscure these days. If you could go back to the map,
Sure.
they can check that out. One is the Probosco Family Cemetery. And the Probosco Family Cemetery is set back very close to the New Jersey Turnpike, up on a hill rise. And probably the most famous person buried in Rhode Hall is in what's called the Probosco Family Cemetery. And that would be Colonel Krause from the Revolutionary War time. He was not a hero of the Revolutionary War because he died mysteriously at the Rhode Hall Inn. And he is the reason for writing the third mystery of South Brunswick.
He actually died at the end.
He died at the inn.
Okay.
He was a passenger on stagecoach coming from Philadelphia, intending to go to New York. And he had to stop, he fell ill, and he had to stop over at the Rhode Hall Tavern Inn. And he died during the night. And the mystery surrounds his death. Was it accidental or not? So you'll have to stay tuned until I finish that story. Closer to the road is what became the Rhode Hall Driving Park.
Okay.
You got that?
Yep, yep. Take me a minute. Now, of course, this picture is not, I grabbed the picture from the internet, but
Yeah. It's an interesting thing because this could have been something that would put Rhode Hall on the map. In other words, another viable way to have income and have people working and that sort of thing. And racehorses were brought to this, and I believe I have. Would I have some information on that? Yeah, there was an association called the Rhode Hall Driving Park Association. And it lasted, it started in the late 1800s and died out around the time, about the middle of the time of this map here, in the early 1900s. But at one time, it was a popular place with some big horses coming to race there. And I had in my notes somewhere, but I can't seem to find them, some of the horses that raced there.
Lady Annie.
There you go, Lady Annie. And of course, that's the what do they call that type of racing? You know, where they have the little wagons.
Oh, harness.
Harness
Yeah.
racing. Yeah.
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 But it wasn't harness racing there.
Oh, okay. Now, as we move along, we get up to what might have been, we're back to the map now.
Okay.
What might have been the center of the town. In other words, if Rhode Hall became a town. And that's where you see.
Oops, wrong one. Sorry. There we go.
That's where you see the Rhode Hall General Store. And you see a cluster of buildings there, and you see some farms nearby. And so you're talking between Dean's Road, Hall Road, and Davidson's Mill Road. This could potentially have been the center of a possible town, but it was not to be. And then once you get across the other side of Davidson's Mill Road, you have some farms there with some very well-known names, Day and Van Dyke. And as I say, it ends with some houses that I didn't put on there, but are along Halmetta Boulevard. Okay, and that makes for Rhode Hall in the early 1900s. Sort of the last chance for it to become a viable community. And that is it.
I just wanted to point out with the names, we actually have all the kids from that picture that I'm showing you right here, which is, it's a great picture. You can tell it's the steps of the other. It was also a community center, but I have the names of the students there. I don't know if you can read them or not, but it's like Frank Siegel, Clarence Day. There's a lot of names that they actually, somebody wrote these down because they recognized the picture and who was in it. It was somebody that was actually in the picture. So those are some of the students' names from that photograph. So I just thought that was pretty remarkable that we had that here in the archives and the picture to go with it. So they also used, like Ed was saying, it was a community center. And bear with me, I'm trying to find where my picture is. Yeah, it was Rhode Hall Community Club is what they called it. So I believe they used the school for it. So that was their community center. It was the school and the community center apparently at the same time. Or you think it was a different time, Ed?
Well, they have the 1938 there.
Yeah.
I believe it was originally a school.
It almost looks like a church, but yeah.
Well, they probably have a bell tower there, for a school, that type of thing. But I believe it started as a school, and then the area, as it developed its identity, it became a community center. The interesting thing is it's on the Monroe side, okay? So that you have the community center on one side, you have the store and so forth on the other side, you have the inn on our side, right? And so this has the makings of another Kingston. But what did Kingston have that Rhode Hall didn't have?
You mean besides Route 27?
Well, besides the road, okay?
For instance?
Kingston had the railroad,
Okay.
okay? And Kingston had the canal,
Oh, right, the canal.
okay? All that Rhode Hall had was the road. And as I say, when the popularity of Route 27, meaning the King's Highway, became so much greater than the popularity of the lower road, that's when Rhode Hall lost out. Okay, so basically you're left with a cluster of farms.
So when do you think it really ceased to become? I mean, right now there's a few houses there, but it's mostly warehouses and commercial areas. But when do you think it last existed, or you can call it a quasi hamlet?
The writing on the wall was after the Revolutionary War. The writing on the wall.
But even in the 30s, it was still pretty vibrant.
Yeah. And so in other words, the possibility could have been there if they had developed something that would have attracted people there for something other than farming. See, Kingston attracts people because it becomes a transportation center for a time, okay? And so you have a cluster that has a variety of jobs, businesses, that sort of thing. Here you didn't have that. So it doesn't become a magnet, whereas Kingston becomes a magnet, okay? And it has a quaintness about it. And it's actually a little town by itself. And it straddles the two counties, just like this could have straddled two counties and become something. I think it would have been great because it's catty corner. If you look at a map of South Brunswick, in one corner is Kingston. Opposite corner is where you have Rhode Hall. I think it would have been fantastic to have Rhode Hall develop as big as Kingston. and continue its quaintness and so forth. That really would have been something. As it turned out, Crossroads, which became Dayton, is the counter to Kingston.
Right.
Okay, and Dayton is pretty close to where Rhode Hall is.
When do you think, though, it became, a so-called ghost, a lost town? When did it, people don't know what it is anymore, unless you've been here for a long time.
Right,
You know a little bit about
right,
history. But
right.
not that long ago, people would say, they were from Rhode Hall. It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah,
So
I would say by the time I would say by the time your railroads caught on
okay.
was the start of it fading out. And so when you get up to the time of Route 1 and then the Turnpike and that sort of thing, Rhode Hall has passed by.
Okay.
So somewhere between where the railroads were king and then the highways were king
So like,
is when Rhode Hall loses it.
okay.
Yeah.
So that's it, right? That's our presentations.
I would say that's it.
Does anybody have any questions?
Is any of those things still existing today? Like Dallenbach seems to have taken over that area where you had the park, the race park.
Right, that's correct. Yeah, and the irony there is that Wally Dallenbach was a famous speed racer in modern times. So racing never left the area.
Yeah. Something about that ground.
But yeah, that was taken over by the sand company and all that. Yeah.
And what about the cemetery on the same road?
The cemetery is in bad shape. The only stone left is the Colonel stone.
Grouse.
Yeah. All the family stones are gone. They were either stolen or whatever, or moved. The Turnpike people say that they did not disturb any stones. And you know that that cemetery is right next to the Turnpike. But the Turnpike Authority, because they had people who questioned that there are actually going to be lawsuits and all that, but that never materialized. They maintain that they did not disturb any gravestones. But when you visit that cemetery, which is now part of warehouse property, right over the overpass over the Turnpike, you can visit it. You're supposed to get permission to visit it, and it's fenced in, but there's only one stone in there.
Huh.
All the other stones have disappeared.
Uh-oh. What do I do?
Did you cut everybody out?
No, we can still see, we can still hear you. You just, the picture went black.
Yes. Oh, hold on a second.
Okay, we're restoring the visual.
It's taking a little minute here. It's all new to me. It's a new frontier here. But that was the end of our. I'm glad you can still hear us. But yeah, that was our program. So I guess that would be. Oh, okay. Here we go.
These are the names of the people who were tuning in, right?
Yeah. Yep. These are the people that were tuned in. Yep. So okay. Yeah. So that's it. If anybody has any questions, now's the time to ask you. You can email us. But that's it until next month. We'll talk about Fresh Ponds, another lost community. But that one's still there though. There's still parts, there's the church, there's the old school and everything. So that one still is somewhat intact. So, all right, well, that's it then. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank
Good
you.
night.
Welcome.
Good night.
Thank you. Very informative. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got some people were hey. Got some nice comments in there, I saw.
Yeah. Oh, that was good time.
So what do you think of the format? Like I don't know what they think. I wonder what they think.
Well, they gotta give you feedback.
Yeah.
But one of the good things would be if we had some live people here.
Well, I tried.
I know, if we had some live people here and we had those people there, and let's say Paul comes in, right? Now, he was on this one, and then he could tell us, you know, how
Yeah, I can ask Paul. Yeah.
it goes, yeah. All righty then.